This week's US CQM Forecast Alert is: will the Fed's next move be to raise or lower policy interest rate? On the expenditure side, the improvement in real housing investment outweighed the deterioration in real net exports, leading to a slight upward revision of the economic growth rate. Due to the low growth rate of the Industrial Production Index in February, corporate profits have declined, and the economic growth rate on the income side has been revised downward. In addition, the economic growth rate forecasted by PCA has been adjusted downward. As a result, the economy continued to form a downward trend, with the average economic growth rate on both the expenditure and income side declining to 0.51%. From this graph, we can imagine a reduction in policy interest rate by the Fed. Real final sales and domestic final sales have been improving since mid-February, so real GDP is unlikely to experience negative growth. February's international trade and business inventories are attracting attention. The Fed will not need to lower interest rates in a hurry when inflation is rising. CQM forecasts show inflation steadily rising. We can guess from this graph the Fed should raise its policy interest rate. These tables are the CQM forecast of inflation for 2024 Q1 and Q2. One of them shows the year-on-year growth rate, which is a focus of the Fed. Looking at these tables, there is no need for the Fed to raise policy interest rate in a hurry when economy is slowing down. At the very least, we should pay attention to the CPI and PPI in March. The PCA also shows an upward trend in inflation and a slowdown in the economy. However, the economic growth rate is about 2%, much higher than the CQM forecasts, due to the rise in stock prices. Conclusions from this week's US CQM Forecast Alert. First, CQM forecast economic slowdown. It suggests the Fed will cut interest rate. The second, inflation is forming an upward trend. It suggests Fed will increase interest rate. The third, the Fed is facing both a slowing economy and rising inflation, and it will be difficult to change interest rates until it determines which will be more severe. This slide contains additional information about this week's detailed CQM forecast and shows how to access the past US CQM forecast alert.